Hey, it's Allie Hartwick here. We have got comedians coming back to Denver. Just another sign that the world is starting to open back up again. And what's more normal than going to see comedy at Comedy Works with a local comedian? Ben Roy is going to be there this week, but today he's with me.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, Ben?
It's oh man, what a year. I've had a bang up year.
Did
I
you?
mean, it was great. Best year on record. Yeah, on paper it looks like a disaster, but I had a lot of fun. So, no, I'm hanging in there. How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, bang up here. In a more
Yeah.
literal sense, I went and got myself pregnant. So
What?
I know.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
When are
When you
you
say
when's your
that,
due date?
it's July 15th.
That's
Yeah.
good. At least
Yeah.
it'll be nice out.
I know. And I hear being pregnant when it's really hot in the summer is like super fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was fine for me.
Was it? How'd you
Yeah.
get through? Like, give me some tips.
I drank.
Okay.
My wife didn't drink as much. She became a real bummer during that whole time. She didn't want to go out as much, but I partied quite hard during it. And I found that having the outlet of my friends and staying out late really helped me get through the whole pregnancy thing. So,
Good to know. I'm glad my husband has a job and is not watching this right now because he doesn't need tips like that.
no, yeah, I mean, hopefully it won't be that bad. July usually, I feel like it's getting hotter and hotter later in the year. So I feel like August is the worst, but
All
we
right,
should be
well, we'll find out.
good.
So
Um,
I hate to start this off by like causing some drama, except that I don't hate it. I love it and I'm doing it on purpose. The last person I interviewed was Adam Caton Holland, and he had a lot to say about you. Quoting him, you are a hack.
okay.
You're also fat, which
Okay.
I feel like it's just fat shaming because even if you were,
Mhm,
who cares? That doesn't mean you're not funny or good.
mhm.
But you're clearly not.
Well, you can't. Adam is sick. He's been mentally unwell for several years. In fact, that's why we lost the show. Those Who Can't was because of his behavior on set. He likes to pet service dogs. He has a big
Ugh.
problem with that. He doesn't even ask anymore. He doesn't ask any permission. He's he's also an extremely angry human being, and I think his jealousy during that interview showed through. I think he's been jealous of what I've been able to create in this town. I made Denver, if you don't know. I made Denver. I put it on the map, and I think there's just a little bit of a jealousy of that. Also, his parents invite me over for dinner twice a week. He only gets invited over once a week. So there's been some things behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of people are seeing, and but I'm not one to air the dirty laundry like he is or
I
anything.
mean, I'm asking because he brought it up, and I needed to give you a chance to redeem yourself. I mean, you
Yeah,
just came out swinging.
and it's frustrating. I'm not going to lie to you because I'm contractually obligated to work with him.
Mm.
But not many people know most every joke that he has was ghostwritten. He's never actually written a joke. I mean, I'm not saying he's not a convincing performer. If you like someone who stands solid like a shovel stuck in a snowbank, if that's the stage presence you're looking for, then fine. Adam Caton Holland's your man, an overly verbose shovel. But otherwise, yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna get into that. That's not me. I think of myself as being a little more adult,
I
despite the
understand.
hand tattoos. I do think of myself as being more of an adult than he is. So,
I mean, I had no idea that Grawlix was basically the Fleetwood Mac of
oh yeah,
Denver.
yeah, we're all sleeping with Andrew. because,
It
because
causes tension.
it
I get
does.
it.
Adam is Mick Fleetwood, and Andrew.
And who are
Yeah,
you?
and
Who are
and
you
he's
casting
mad.
yourself as?
Well, me, I'm the
Yeah.
drummer. But I wrote Rihanna, so everybody knows, that I'm the one. I'm the one that wrote their
I
best
thought
song.
Stevie Nicks wrote Rhiannon.
That's Andrew. We're sleeping. Andrew, Stevie Nicks, and
Okay.
we're all sleeping with Andrew.
Okay.
So,
Okay. I get it.
um,
I get it.
but
I mean, the
there's so much
parallels are
cocaine
crazy.
right now. All the lines just get blurred. So, with the three of us, poor Andrew. He never gets to defend himself.
Well, maybe I'll have him on at some point.
Don't
when
do
he gets
that.
the
He's
opportunity.
he's not healthy either.
Okay. I mean, well, I can't always have the healthy ones on.
Oh
We're
yeah.
talking a lot
Well,
about your group Grawlix, and you guys have been working on a podcast throughout the pandemic, which, like, it sounded like when I talked about it with Adam, it just happened to be so fitting for the time that we're in, and you didn't plan it that way.
no. You know, we had kicked around a few ideas, and we actually did one that we ended up chucking because it just was too complicated. You know, I think we just tried to do too much at the beginning. We wanted it to be like kind of like our live show is, a stand up, but also a little scripted and a little, it just was too much. So when this all started, we all discussed it, and we thought if we're going to get together once a week and do this, we should try to better ourselves and you know, do something that's light and happy and positive. And that just kind of came together. It happened to be, you know, come together right before all this pandemic stuff. So, but it's been so fun. It's given us that outlet. And I think, I'm fortunate. I say it all the time that, you know, we did the TV show and we've been doing the live show for a long time. And I still, despite everything I just said, think of them as close friends, and we still get along, and I like working with those two. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. During all of this mess, it's been a welcome respite from all of it. So,
Well, so few people have been able to find a creative outlet because, I mean, no one's creative on their own. And if you are, you're Walt Whitman, I guess. But
yeah,
most of us are like struggling to find something creative to do. And it's great that not only were you able to still collaborate with people that you've been collaborating with for so long, but you're doing it in a way that's all about like self-improvement, which, I mean, I think about you when I think self-improvement.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people do. You know, a lot of people are like, "This is a guy who's had it together for most of his life. He's put things together. He's kept the ducks in a row. He's kept the balls in the air." And I know it. And to me, thank you. I'm glad. I'm hashtag prayer hands emojis. No, I think my life is kind of always a mess, and this was a good way to like. A lot of the stuff, truthfully, we'd never done. I'd never floated. I'd never done float tanks. I felt like that was very overly Joe Rogan-y and like, and like pseudoscience. But it actually was really relaxing and enjoyable. And you know, hot yoga I'd never done because that makes me very nervous, like panicky.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to have a panic attack. But it was very relaxing, and I found it enjoyable. And like, it's been cool. And I hope some people have messaged and said, "I'm doing this now," or "I've tried this because of it." So, but it's more just about having fun and having a laugh. And I hope other people have got the same from it. So,
where can we go to find your podcast?
You can find it. The podcast is available through Starburns Audio. And you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all of those. And it's called The Grawlix Saves the World. As if the
Very
Grawlix...
Humble title.
We did it because we wanted to think of the Grawlix as like a beast kind of thing, like a three-headed Hydra type thing. And yeah, to be somewhat arrogant and as a joke. But most of it is just us competitively failing at trying to better ourselves. Other than we did complete the most important challenge, which is watching all of the Fast and the Furious movies in 1 week.
Do you have a favorite?
I mean, yeah. Don't you?
Well, yeah, but okay.
you go first. No, you go first.
Okay, so
okay.
I haven't seen all of them.
Okay.
I think I've seen the first like four, maybe.
You've seen all the ones that matter.
Okay, great. And the first one that like I saw in theaters, and I was in middle school at the time, and I was like, "Whoa, it's so cool!" But my favorite is Tokyo Drift because of one line only. And
okay,
it's
what is it?
They are in the elevator, and Bow Wow says to whoever the main character is, like Channing Tatum wannabe,
Yeah.
"Do you know what DK stands for?" And he goes, I don't know, Donkey Kong. It's just the best line ever. And I love it. I love thinking about it. I can see it so clearly in my head. I love the
Do
movie.
you
from
ever
that
just
one line.
bust that out at home? Is it one of those
Yes.
lines where you're like, I don't know, Donkey Kong?
All the time. All the time. Anytime I don't know something. I don't know,
Those movies
Donkey
are
Kong.
so bad. I tweeted that they are the Avengers for people who exclusively shop at Ross. That's what that's what that's the they've become more and more like superheroes. At first they just race cars, and now they're the next one, apparently they're in fucking space. Sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
You can say whatever you want.
They're in space, which is just absolutely insane. And Ludacris is apparently the smartest human being on the planet, and it's great. My favorite is 4, the one where they're in Brazil.
Okay.
And they're
that's
like,
the one where like, isn't Michelle Rodriguez dead, but then she's not dead?
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Anything can happen in their world. That's the one where they're like on a favela and they have that amazing foot chase where they're like jumping down roofs and then they drag the safe through all of Rio, like just behind 2 muscle cars. None, like, suspend all disbelief.
Yes.
I watched a thing where there was one where they were dragging the car behind this gigantic airplane. They were on a runway, and some scientists did it like timed how fast the plane would have to be moving to tow cars and how long. And he did the math up, and he was like, that runway was like 9.5 miles long, because the scene just carries on for an insane amount of time. And they're so dumb, but now we're way into it.
Yeah.
We are like, we're going to go see them when we finally can see the new one up front, because it's all about just drinking Coronas and family.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I think that actually could be the summary of the first movie. Drink Coronas, family.
It pretty much, I mean, it pretty much is, right? I mean, they're but yeah, so those the point was that, like, we don't watch a lot. I don't watch a lot of, and neither does Adam, action movies. Like, I don't watch a lot of big budget like action films, and it was like we kind of tend to get a little arrogant about that. But Andrew was like, a lot of people watch this. I mean, they make that franchise is huge.
Yeah.
And what we did discover, while they do not necessarily, especially at the beginning, paint flattering portraits of women, what they did do was, if you notice from the very beginning, they had an insanely multicultural cast.
They did. That deserves credit.
Before anybody else ever did it. And they have made millions and millions as a franchise, and they've never really been all that arrogant about it. Like, it's always kind of been self-aware in a way as to what they're doing. So it is somewhat enjoyable, but for the most part, I don't know. Not really.
I'm with you. It's funny you mentioned this, because I had a realization this weekend that I really don't like action movies. And the only way I've been able to watch them is if I have my phone nearby. And once a fight or a chase sequence starts, I just get out the phone and I'm like, meh, yep, it'll be done soon. Because there's no plot advancement during that. You have like 10 minutes to sit there.
No, I know people have thoughts about the TV show Family Guy.
I hate that show.
Yeah, but one amazing thing that they've done as like a statement and satire is Peter and the Chicken.
Yeah.
It is a funny statement that this chicken just shows up and they beat the shit out of each other, and people are often annoyed by it, but it is, we don't think of that with any huge action movie where we're like, this literally served no purpose. We could have done without any.
Like, I like the Wikipedia descriptions of the action scenes. Like, they fight, this person dies. Cool. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I did like. There was one series of action movie that I liked, which is, I did like the Bourne Identity, the first one. I loved it.
That one. Okay, so like Bourne Identity, Fast and the Furious, Gone in 60 Seconds. These are all movies that came out like in 1 or 2 summers when I was in middle school, high school. And like, we would go to the singular movie theater in our hometown that had one screen and sit there and watch either the early show or the late show. And those were all I had to choose from for like 2 summers. And I just remember
Where did you grow up?
I
Where did you
grew
have a
up in-
one-screen movie
Yeah,
theater?
we do. We have a one-screen movie theater. I grew up in a really small town outside of Buffalo, New York.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I'm
but
from
yeah.
the East Coast as well. I'm from Maine, so
Okay.
yeah, and that we had those too. Those like little one-screener.
Yeah. And like there are only 2 shows, and the early show is for like the middle school kids, and then the late shows for like the parents. And
What town was it?
do you know Western New York well?
I know upstate fairly well.
Okay, it's East Aurora, New York.
Okay, I
Yeah.
don't know that. That is
No.
very small.
It is. It's like 20,000 people. We're a suburb of Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
But
but it's
I did a
cool. It's
I
fun.
did a show in Buffalo not that long ago during
At Helium?
we did no, it was a casino in Niagara.
Oh, Seneca Niagara Casino.
Yes, the big one.
Yeah.
That
The one with all
was-
the stained glass and stuff.
Yeah, that was the closest to Back to the Future 2 I've ever like. I've
Yeah.
never seen a casino surrounded by poverty of that
Yeah.
level.
Niagara Falls is total trash. Like, I'm from Buffalo and we look down on Falls people. We're like, oh, you're from the Falls. Like,
Yeah,
it's a trash town.
it's crazy.
And I know everyone who's watching from Niagara Falls is like, we hate this girl, boycott her. I'm sorry.
Right.
Niagara Falls is trash.
Yeah, it's weird as hell. Like I've never seen anything like that. I mean, it was, and people were saying there that you can get like huge houses for like $35,000 or $40,000 or something
Your
like that.
taxes are going to be out of control. But yeah, like you can get
Really? They have
Greenhouses.
high taxes there?
New York State in general.
Oh,
Just
okay.
super high. But like if you cross the border into Canada, Niagara Falls, Canada, like they at least have a downtown area that's kind of cool. But it's at least is a little more quaint. I don't know. Niagara Falls, Canada can be pretty trash ball too.
Was that what you did when you were teenagers? Is just go over like when you were 18 to party like into Canada?
We didn't. You had to be 19 in Ontario.
Yeah.
And I went to college in Canada, so
Oh.
I was already across the border. at
Yeah.
19. Yeah.
Did you go like right over into
Like no, you don't go to, so Fort Erie is the town that's right
Yeah.
across the border. And that has like, well, in Canada, strip clubs are totally nude. So that has like the trashy strip clubs. I think there's a casino in Fort Erie. There's a racetrack. Fort Erie's just a dump.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm absolutely taking a dump on Southern Ontario, but I'm allowed to because like I lived there for a little bit. Yeah, Southern Ontario is like a lot like Niagara Falls, the American side. It's all a weird place.
Yeah. Did you go to school in like Montreal? Sorry, I'm co-opting the interview.
Ask about me. I love talking about myself. I have to
Did
like
you go to
talk about
school
other
in
people
Montreal
the same
or
way. I
in
wish.
Toronto?
No, I went to University of Toronto. In
Oh, yeah.
the city.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about? You wish Toronto's terrific.
Toronto's amazing, but
That's
it's
a
like
great city. And not many people realize in the US, like in North America, like going to Toronto is a great trip. It feels very multicultural.
oh, it is. It's
Like-
so diverse.
I heard there's like 300 languages spoken in Toronto. Like it's always on the list of cities that have the most diverse populations. It's like London, Dubai, Toronto, like places like that. So I've heard it's like, and I always have great food, and yeah, I loved Toronto every time I've been up. We played my band played Bovine Sex Club.
Yeah, I know where that is. I used to live around there.
Yeah, that like it's got all the trash and shit hanging off the front of it, and it's like a industrial looking like kind of. It's super cool.
Yeah.
I love that city. I always love going up to do stand up there and everything. So
I love that you pronounce Toronto correctly.
why should how should I? What
No,
if
you say
people-
it right. People
Oh.
say Toronto, and it's like
Oh,
no,
Toronto.
no,
no,
it's
they
2.5
always-
syllables.
They jumble it kind of.
Yeah,
it feels
Toronto.
like. Toronto.
Yeah.
Good hash from Mick.
Yeah,
Mick is saying that they've got good hash. That was one of the first times anywhere that I'd ever done a show that was a pot show. Like,
really.
yeah, it was there was a comedy club that was. It felt like it was like a speakeasy type thing, and you could smoke in there well before anybody, I believe, well before Colorado legalized it.
Yeah.
But it was sketchball. But the show was so awesome. It was like you walked in and it was like a living room, and it was a woman who owned it, like an older lady. And then you went in the back and there was like the showroom, but the dog had like shit on stage. She had a dog and she hadn't cleaned it up. And I thought they were trying to kill me. I mean, everybody was smoking so much. I have like really bad anxiety, so like smoking is not the best for me.
No.
But yeah. So, but that was the first time I'd ever been anywhere where they were freely allowing you to smoke.
I wonder if it's the place we used to go to in college sometimes.
What was
you had
that?
to, like, I forget what it was called, but you had to like get a membership and then you were allowed to buy like marijuana products there. I honestly couldn't tell you where in the city it was, what it was called. All I can tell you is that I was so high, like 2 days later, I finally got out of bed. Like,
and when I had done it the next night, I think Joe Rogan was there because there was a UFC, and he ended up doing it the next night. I mean, it was like a fairly, like among comics, it was known because you could openly like just smoke in the room while, and I mean, the show was rad. It was really cool. It was just, I thought I was like, people were like, we're done with you. And they were dragging me off to like the Canadian mafia was like, I like, cause I know Montreal has like a huge mob presence.
Yeah, but Montreal is its own thing because Quebec is so separatist from the rest of the country. I actually have never even been to Montreal.
Oh, really?
I went to school in Ontario, in Toronto for 4+ years, and never made it over to Montreal. I think because I was like, it's expensive. I have no money. I'll just stay here in Toronto. It's easier. But that's a place I have to go. I feel so foolish for never having been there.
Montreal is one of those amazing cities that feels at parts almost like New York did probably in the 70s. Mick says he got his first pair of Earth shoes there, 72.
All right, Mick.
All right.
I think neither of us were alive then.
In 1972, I was in a gland in my father's neck, I think. Probably.
I think Mick's shoes are older than both of us.
Yeah. But I love how Mick's like, good hash, got my first pair of shoes. And Mick's Toronto trip was a win-win all around.
Apparently.
Mo Cash and got a brand new pair of shoes.
Well, it's funny, like my dad and his uncle used to talk to me about how they grew up in Buffalo and they would go over to Toronto and it was like a dump and they'd be able to buy things really cheap there and drink really cheap. And now it's reversed entirely and that Toronto is like a world-class city. And I love Buffalo. It's, I think, the greatest city on earth, but not a whole lot of people that aren't from there would agree with me. So
I've liked Buffalo every time I've been there.
The people there are really nice.
They are. And I will say too about a lot of the upstate city, because I do like the Syracuse Funny Bone and Rochester Funny Bone. Like, the thing I'll say about a lot of the upstate city and Buffalo is that Buffalo has, people are so proud of being from Buffalo. It's like they're like Pittsburghians, you know, like they love and it's got its own accent and its own food culture. I think that that's what makes going to a city enjoyable. Traveling, I have this in my bit, like in my set, like traveling the country, there are just more bland, lifeless cities now everywhere because they all kind of look the same and there's the same types of restaurants. But I feel like Philadelphia, Buffalo, Pittsburgh, cities like in that Rust Belt area still keep an identity. Detroit, like Mick is saying, everybody kind of shits on Detroit, but Detroit is still has a lot of pride for itself in a lot of ways, you know?
It does.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to travel this weekend. You're just going to be right here in Denver.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like Denver has an identity crisis, but I don't want everyone in Denver to start coming for me right now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think most people who've lived in Denver for a long time, I mean, I've been here 22 years now, and I moved to LA. I go back and forth here and there, but this is my home. And I think Denver is struggling with the growth that it so badly wanted for so long.
Yeah.
It really wanted to be taken seriously, and for people to be like, we're cool, huh, guys? We're cool. For so long we were doing that. And then now people are like, fuck yeah, you're cool. And now they're buying everything up. And we're like, we're not that cool. Leave, you
Go
know,
home.
go
Yeah.
home. But it's, we've fared well during all of the economic crises. And I think it's, yeah, Denver, thank you, Laura. Denver rules. It is still my favorite city in the country.
We
And
both chose to be here. Like, we're both from different places and we chose to be here in Denver.
Yeah, I do not miss, unlike you, I'm not proud of where I'm from. I mean, I'm proud of the people I grew up around. I love the people, but I would never move back to Maine in a million years.
Oh, I would never move back to Buffalo. I love it so much. I will wave my Buffalo flag. In fact, I have one ordered that's going to go on this wall back here.
Yeah, you got a Bills?
Yeah. Oh my God. Of course. I have Bill stickers all over my car because it's a Subaru and it's trash. So it's just the Bills.
I love your Colorado crossover. You got your Subaru, but your Bills stickers on it. Yeah,
absolutely.
You got your Nalgene bottle and you got your retro Buffalo Sabres sticker on it.
Yeah. Like the kids' room right now, we're decorating it and the theme is Buffalo. Like putting stuff up everywhere.
I moved and I immediately, shortly after I became a Rockies fan, I stopped rooting for born and raised. That's so rare to see, Laura.
So rare.
But yeah, and I quickly became a Denverite. I go home and I love the people I grew up. Maine has very wonderful people, but there's no economy. It's 99% white, so there's no diversity. There's very small pockets of art and things, but for the most part, it's very rural, and that's just not where I want to live.
Well, we're glad you live here, and we can count you as a local comedian. Oh, I did this again. I forgot to put up your little ticker that shows everybody.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, there it is. So you can anybody watching if you want. Yeah, there's 2 shows, and this is recording my new album this is my second album with 800 Pound Gorilla Records in Nashville, and then but it's my 4th album now with them because they re-released my first 2 albums. So this is number 4, and I'm excited. This is all I've ever really I know it doesn't. People are like, you should post stuff on Instagram, and I try to, or YouTube, but really I've always loved the medium of recording something and having an album. And I think that's just from playing in bands and stuff like that. And so this will be a fun show. I'm excited to put something new out and have something people can listen to.
I'm excited. And I have a question. If I want to get on the album as an audience member, should I craft a very unique laugh? Would that be a good idea?
And I also encourage, yes, that's one way. Sure. Okay. Also wearing an outfit that creates a lot of sound when you fidget. Something perhaps made out of parchment paper. Okay. They're not going to stop you at the door. Comedy Works, does not really flex on the attire thing. So, or something made out of foil.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That would be reflective too. So you would get nice and distracted.
That's a good one. I'll call you out if you're reflective. If for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. The only person who ever wins with that is Dave Caldwell. If any of you know local Denver comedy, you know Dave Caldwell. And if you've ever heard an album recorded of Comedy Works, you've heard Dave Caldwell's voice on his. He's the only one with the completely destructive laugh that I'll tolerate.
All right. So tips for this weekend: wear something shiny, work on your unique laugh. Mine's gonna be.
That's really good.
Thanks.
And your jaw, the troubling way in which your jaw moves on that is.
I might wear a hat too. Just to
big really... hat. A lady in a red hat.
Ben.
And you're smoking inside. You shouldn't be smoking.
Yeah, but
you're pregnant, you said. So you'll be easy to pick out the lady in the red hat who's smoking deep into pregnancy.
I do what I want.
Yes. She's a lady. She's a lady.
Oh,
Um,
Ben, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me and for taking the time to do this and for being so awesome to local comics. We all love you.
Well, we do try. This is my favorite part of every day of every week. Ben, it was great talking to you. Information right down there. There, you can see my hand, comedyworks.com. You can get your tickets, go see a show this weekend, have some fun. Thanks for joining us.